Hello, this is Igorro, host of the Igorro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hey, welcome to the Steve and Crypto Show, presented by thestevestrout.com. I'm Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo, and I'll just say this, at least for now, I'm not going to give you any more rhymes on episode 54. That's the only one you get right there. It's kind of a weak one, but that's just how it is.
That was kind of I was actually anticipating and looking forward to a rhyme this week, and then you just kind of...
All right, fine. We've got rhymes galore on episode 54. How about that?
All right. Needs my rhymes. It's like drugs now. You got it hooked on it, and then you're trying to fucking take it away. It's not cool. Not cool, but
just giving them out like keep the change, you filthy animal.
Yeah.
Plenty more where that came from.
You get them hooked. It's bad. Well, we thank you guys.
Speaking of rhymes galore, real quick before you get into the introduction. Speaking of rhymes galore, if you want to hear some rhymes and you're local, being that you're in the Port Townsend, Port Hadlock area, you can go to the Crazy Otter this Saturday, December 4th. And I believe the doors open at 9, shows at 9:30. Knothead, Concrete, Nick Fury, The Unforgiven, and more.
Yes, it's in Washington State. So if you're up here, you're in Western Washington somewhere, make the little trip out here. Go check out their show for Rhymes Galore. That should be the name of the show. It's the Rhymes Galore Show. Rhymes Galore at the Crazy Otter.
Buster Rhymes to be coming for our ass. I don't think we can do that.
Yeah, you probably don't want him angry at you. You seen him fighting Michael Myers.
He's one of the few that can actually get at least a couple good shots in on Michael Myers. So
throw down
I don't think I want to even try to throw down with him. No thanks. No thanks, Buster Bus. I'll stay away.
The last episode, we talked about the lady in that band that peed on the dude. We talked about...
I think a lot of people talked about that, didn't they?
Yeah. What else did we talk about last week?
We discussed a few things on Disney Plus that are coming out.
The X-Men show.
Yep. A few more details on that. A couple other, little bits of movie news. I believe a little bit of news regarding Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah.
Like, it seems to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that yet. But we'll get back to that in a minute.
Yeah, definitely. And, for those that have been enjoying the content, we hope you enjoyed the last episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this one as well. If you like what you've been hearing, you can head over to buymeacoffee.com/Steve Crypto, and you can give a little tip. It's just like a couple bucks, little contribution to the show. Helps to keep things rolling. Just helps to improve the overall sound and the show itself. We thank you for contributing. We thank everyone, for future contributors. It's just a nice way to send a little something, a thank you to the show, and so we appreciate it. We've been doing the show for a little over a year now, and that definitely helps, because we're
sure does.
We're independent. It's just us doing this, so we anything helps at all.
Absolutely, and there's other ways you can help the show. We mentioned last week, on social media that we had the Steve and Crypto Show trucker style hats available. It was pretty cool. Hit us up if you're interested in getting a hold of one of those. They look really cool with pins and stuff on them.
Yeah.
There's that. You can follow us and share us on social media. He's at CryptoZoo88, like everywhere. The Steve Strout everywhere. Find us. Like I said, subscribe to the show, rate the show, review the show. There's all the little things add up and help the show grow, and that's I guess that's the point of doing this whole thing, is to grow and try to entertain you guys. And we're still here, and we're getting a lot of good feedback, so I feel like we're doing our job, but we do still need a little help and a little boost and stuff. So
that's right. We're just trying to help our show grow. I told you we had rhymes galore.
There you go, more rhymes.
They might be corny rhymes, but they're rhymes.
We are gonna have a guest on this episode. Last Halloween 2020, we did our Halloween special, and we had a few guests on, and one of them was a voice that you guys hear every week at the intro of our show, the horror host Igorro. He's performed by an actor named Mark Pinkney, who's going to pop in here in a little bit, and we're going to talk more. Like we kind of got a little bit of background on him and stuff in the the 2020 Halloween. It's kind of like an abbreviated thing. We're going to get a little more in depth and talk more about his show and stuff here today.
Yeah, also, he's a really great guy, and there's no piss talk on this episode, but you're in for a hell of a treat when he comes on.
Who knows? He's a character, though. He might make a piss or fart joke. We'll see. Kind of hoping he does, fingers crossed, but if not, it's still going to be a good chat.
It's not mandatory.
No. You mentioned, we're talking about what we did last week. I'm pretty sure we talked about the Chucky show. We seem to have been talking about that every week, and they just actually announced that it was picked up for season 2.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting.
Hopefully we get more than 8 episodes in the next season. I know that's often kind of like how they test the waters with the first season. A lot of shows, they only get like 6 to 8
Shorter,
episodes. Yeah, maybe 10 if you're lucky. And a lot of seasons in the last few years seem to be kind of cutting it off at 10.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we'll get 8 to 10 again.
Yeah.
Just because they're I feel like the budget might be a little more than a regular Sci-Fi Channel show.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they're using, they're going full out, all out with, the effects and the makeups and stuff, and it's not like it's some little, like an indie production or something. This is it's like a legit thing. I'm digging it, man.
Well, they wanted to do it well. Being that it's, an iconic character and whatnot. I'm sure they didn't want to just, throw a little bit of change out there towards the show. They want to do it right.
That's why it's been in the talks for a while too. So that's why, part of why it took so long to get together, I'm sure, is the fact that they wanted it right. And I feel like they're nailing it. This has been one of the better horror series to come out in a while.
Yeah.
And even the Day of the Dead series that they're putting on Sci-Fi. At first, I thought it was that's gonna be kind of cheesy, but it's kind of growing on me, and it's coming along pretty well. I'm not too fond of I get the homage to the Romero movie, but I don't like how they made a new Bub, because just Bub is that iconic zombie from the Day of the Dead movie in the 80s, and it's kind of weird to me, but we'll see. Maybe they'll do something cool with it. But I need to I started the new episode, the latest episode, fell asleep, which has been my it's been a regular thing for me lately, because I have multiple. I have 3 or 4 different other podcast episodes I've been listening to that I fell asleep or ran out of time. Movies, I started I mentioned before we started, I met the movie with The Rock. I can't even think of the name of it again, even though you just told me.
Red Notice.
Red Notice. I've started that movie twice now. Not that it wasn't good, it was just I'm old and I get tired and then I fall asleep. Yeah, the first time we got like literally like 90 seconds into it and we were out. Second time, I think we're like 12 minutes in. So we're getting better each time. I started a good 20 minutes into the Bruce Campbell
Black Friday.
Black Friday. So I mean, I'm getting old and thoughts are slipping in my mind. And
that one movie with that guy in it.
The one with the guy, with the other guy and the dude. Speaking of Chucky, the dad who just got killed by Junior. Yeah, Devin Sawa. Yep. Like, there I go again. He's in Friday, which is
I noticed that.
And seems like he plays a drunk again, so that's interesting. Interesting.
He's looking at all these roles like, what are they just typecasting me or something?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
He's not even acting. It's probably just him now. Like I remember when he was like popular back in the day. He looked like super young. Like he aged like a lot.
Yeah, he took a break from acting for a while, from what I understand. Yeah, I think
I wonder what he did while he was on break. Was he like smoking crack or something?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, I hope not. Not to say. I mean, he's probably just doing life, but man. Yeah,
it is cool to see him come back and go back to the genre that most of us know him for.
Yeah,
you know, like.
But you look.
I mean,
a lot of those other young actors back in the days, and like Childs. Not that he was a child when he was first popular, but like child stars and stuff kind of turn into like fucked up messes and don't really bounce back very well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there ain't that many that you could think of that were, you know, popular really young and are still a big deal now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of them kind of, you know, go away for a little while and then maybe make a comeback if they can.
But not many of them do. That's the thing. That's weird.
Yeah.
What was the other movie I watched? I started watching. I don't know what I started watching. I started watching a lot of movies and shows and listening to stuff this past week and didn't finish shit. But we were discussing. You mentioned the South Park.
I was just about to tell you that. You know what I did finish was
tell me a little about it.
South Park post-COVID. We have never seen the boys like this before. I want to be kind of vague and just say that. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's like an hour long, I think, maybe a little longer. And well, I kind of have to spoil it a little bit. So this is basically fast forwarding 40 years from now. So the boys are in their 40s, going on 50s, and we have been dealing with COVID all this time. But Kenny,
it feels like it's been 40 years, hasn't it?
Well, let's hope that South Park isn't on the doesn't have their finger on the button like The Simpsons does with predicting a lot of things. You know what I mean? So, let's go back to this episode of our show 40 years from now, and let's see if this is accurate. So anyway, in this show, they've been dealing with COVID all this time, and Kenny has been doing some research to try to find out, like, how it got started and how he can stop it and whatnot. And I'm not even going to tell you what Cartman's doing, but it's ironic. So like, Alexa is like a full-on hologram at this point, and she is basically like Stan's wife. and so he's always yelling at Alexa. He's kind of a drunk at this point, and his job is that he's like a alcohol consultant or something like that. Like he, tests different whiskeys and things like that. So yeah, he gets a call from Kyle. They haven't talked since they were 9 years old. And he's like, it's bad news about Kenny. He's dead. And, like it's never happened before. And so it goes from there. I'll kind of leave it at that, but it's very entertaining. It's really fun.
It's worth watching.
Yeah, it's worth watching. It definitely helps to have watched the last COVID special that they did.
Right.
I don't know if you caught that one, but it kind of okay. Well, they showed in that one how they think COVID started.
Right.
And it's typical South Park, but it's great.
Yeah. I might check it out. I might if I don't fall asleep.
Yeah, if you can stay awake.
That's what I was saying. You were talking about like let's look back in this episode in 40 years, and it's like I probably won't remember. But yeah, I can't even remember 40 minutes ago, like let alone 40 years. Don't put that much pressure on me.
Well, Stan was driving a car. Well, I could say the car was driving itself. He was pretty much just laying down sleeping while the car was driving, because he lived in the city at this point. He was heading back to South Park. And I was thinking like, that looks nice, but I don't know if I trust the idea of that, a car that drives itself. And
it seems kind of sketchy. Just, I don't know. Like maybe like a later generation once it's an actual viable thing that works.
Yeah, but at this point,
it's like now.
Do you trust closing your eyes and just letting the car do its work?
God,
do its thing?
God, no.
Hell no.
It's like now with like the kids, like that don't know about like commercials during TV shows and shit. You know what I mean? They grew up without this thing. Like we grew up with like automobile safety and stuff. You know what I mean? Like that just
and recycling.
That just feels like so
natural.
That feels unnatural. Like riding in a car. You know what I mean? Just kicking back, but feels sketchy. But maybe someday they'll perfect it. Who knows? I'm sure they will, but again, probably 40 years from now.
Yeah.
I forget, and
we won't be allowed to drive by then.
Yeah.
They have taken our licenses away.
Probably be.
And then we'll try to like take over the town.
No, I'm thinking all like crazy weird shit. Like before we get wander off into some weird direction about the future. Let's keep it a little in the more not so distant future, and talk about the next couple episodes. We're gonna, because since it's the holiday season coming, we're gonna talk a little. I'm sure we'll probably cover the holiday a little more. Talk about some of our favorite movies, some probably some gift ideas. Got some episode ideas in the works for that. Maybe we'll make like a list of like good Christmas horror movies, because I mean there's a few out there that are good and some not so good.
Yeah, maybe by then you have actually watched Black Friday and you can add that to your list.
I'll finish it. That's not my goal. That's my goal by next week. I'm gonna finish Black Friday and I'm gonna have an opinion on it for you. That's my promise to you guys.
Cool.
That's my second promise I've made so far now. My first promise was last week when I said we'll never pee on you guys. And now I promise that I'm going to finish Black Friday and I'll have an opinion for you. I won't spoil it or anything, but I will tell you if it's good or not. I'm just going to surprise, like in the middle of the episode, I'm not even going to tell you what I'm talking about. I'm just going to talk about something else. I'm like, yeah, so I went Christmas shopping and bought this and that. It was good. And then I...
So I bought a new
slip it in there, yeah. Just slip it in there. It was good. But hey, thanks for mentioning Christmas and holidays, and we're going to talk some gift ideas. So maybe you've probably already started shopping. I sort of started a little bit and took advantage of like Cyber Monday deals and all that nonsense, because there was some pretty good deals out there, and who doesn't like a bargain? But if you're already starting your shopping, you should visit our friends at Fright Rags. You know about Fright Rags, don't you?
Hell yeah, I know about Fright Rags. They've been bringing you the best in horror apparel and accessories since 2003, offering a wide range of products for your favorite creature features, slasher flicks, and cult classics. Collections include John Carpenter's Halloween, Universal Monsters, Night of the Living Dead, Creepshow, Twin Peaks, Evil Dead, and so many more. All officially licensed and available soon or right now at fright-rags.com. Steve and Crypto Show listeners get 10% off when they use the code Crypto10 at checkout. That's one word, Crypto10.
Yeah, and Fright Rags is making it easy to give the gift of horror this holiday with some new American Psycho apparel, a Krampus coloring book, Silent Night, Deadly Night cards, and a bunch of new hats. So they restocked the Krampus activity book, which features 20 pages of coloring and activities based on the Michael Dougherty film, and includes a pack of crayons.
Fright Rags also has 3 packs of Silent Night, Deadly Night Christmas cards featuring fold-out graphics and a pop-up Killer Santa. We all want to send our loved ones a Killer Santa card, don't we?
More than just shirts, they also have horror hats. It's part of the Fright Rags repertoire and includes some brand new ones. They have a Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, a Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Frankenstein, and Creature from the Black Lagoon hats. And there's also restocks of some classics like the Creepshow, The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs, Monster Vision, and Tales from the Crypt.
American Psycho, Krampus, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and horror hats are all available now at frightrags.com. Again, that's fright-rags.com. Use the code Crypto10. One word, Crypto10.
Do it. Head over to fright-rags.com and check it out. Head to fright-rags.com and start your Christmas shopping. Before we get to our guest, we want to mention that our local Comic-Con, the Emerald City Comic-Con, is coming up next weekend, and Crypto wants to tell you about our one of our show friends.
That's right.
Be at the show.
Well, we are recording this on a Tuesday night, and it's actually this coming Thursday the Comic-Con starts, Emerald City Comic-Con, and it'll be heading from Thursday through the weekend. And our good friend Dirk Manning is going to be there. He will be with the Source Point Press crew, and he's actually going to be hosting 2 panels there. So on Thursday, he'll be hosting the Kickstarting Your Comics Career panel with Travis McIntyre and Chris Tadlock of Source Point Press, and Drana Joe and Brian Clevenger of Atomic Robo fame. Then on Saturday, he'll be joined by Garrett Gunn along with Chris and Drana Joe again to discuss how to get a comic from your brain to the comic book shelf. So if you guys are in the Seattle area, definitely go check it out. There are so many vendors and guests around, but if you can, pop by Dirk Manning, say hi, tell him Steve and Crypto sent you. We would love to be there if we could. We really, really would, but there's just a lot going on, and we're just starting off the holiday season with and shopping and all that. It honestly would be a great time to go and pick up some gifts, but I just don't know if I see myself making it this year. So I'll be there in spirit.
Definitely not happening for me. But if you're there, like you said, go see Dirk. Go see some of our other friends. Say hi. Yep. Tell them hi.
Yeah. Yep. Dirk's going to be there. The one panel is Kickstarting Your Comics Career, and the other one is From Concept to Store Shelves, the life cycle of a comic. So Thursday, December 2nd, 2:15 to 3:15. And then the second one is December 4th from 3:45 to 4:45. And check out his booth. He has tons of different comics, Butts and Seats, the Tony Schiavone story, the Haunted High-On series with Twisted, Mystery, Hope. He has quite a few, a variety of all different types of stories for, different pop culture fans.
Do it. We're going to get to our chat with Mark Pinckney, a.k.a. Igorro. But first, meet one of our friends.
We all love a good ghost story, but have you ever wondered how it came to be?
Have you ever wanted to dig deeper into the true history of your favorite stories of the macabre?
How about whether or not it really went down that way?
Join us bi-weekly on Ghoulish Tendencies podcast, where we, 2 paranormal investigators, delve into the depths of the famous and not so famous cases of murder, ghosts, legends, and lore, with a healthy dose of debunking.
I'm Gabby, the resident Mulder.
And I'm Kim, the resident Scully.
And we're your ghostesses of Ghoulish Tendencies podcast, found wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay spooky.
You know, I remember before we started the Steve and Crypto show, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We didn't know how to get a podcast going. But now, thanks to Anchor, we finally get the show started. And if you haven't heard about it yet, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And it's free. They got everything you need to get going.
They have all the tools to let you record and edit your podcast right from your phone and computer. And not only can you record your show on there, it will help you distribute it so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and most of the major distributors where you listen to your show.
I mean, really, it's everything you need. You know, if guys like us can do it, so can you. And you can actually make money off of this thing. So get the Anchor app, get started, and get paid. Let your voice be heard.
All you got to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And thanks for listening to the Steve and Crypto Show.
This is Jay the Libra, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show.
Hey, we are hanging out here with a familiar voice that you guys hear opening every episode. You know, you hear, the intro, you hear Igorro announcing the show and, telling you to shut up and listen, which hopefully you guys follow the instructions because when Igorro speaks, you listen. But yeah, he's portrayed by a friend of ours, a great actor named Mark Pinkney. He's been acting for a long time. My personal favorite thing he's done is Igorro. That's how we connected over, his horror hosting gig and just our love of old monster movies and stuff. We had him on our 2020 Halloween episode. We did a brief introduction to him, and we kind of wanted to bring him back to do a little less abbreviated introduction to the man behind Igorro. So let's welcome Mark to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for inviting me, Steve and Caleb. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. Your little spot that we throw in the episodes, I never know which one Steve's going to put it in. And whenever I go back and listen, I just smile every time I hear yours. Yeah, every time I hear your little spot telling the crowd to just shut up and listen to the show.
That's why I put it right at the beginning, just set it off. Like this is
it's like being a grade school teacher. You just
class. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
that's a good.
Jim, sit down. Jim, down. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Sit down.
Martha, stop biting the desk.
Or continue.
Yeah.
Don't blame me when your teeth fall out.
I figured this was a good time to have you pop back in because you are getting ready. You did a little brief hiatus of the Igorro show.
Yes.
And now it sounds like you're just about to launch the show again and come back with a new episode. So I figured this is the perfect time.
Yeah, I think it is, and I appreciate it. It is. It has been a hiatus. There's a lot of stuff that happened that just kept pushing it back. And I realized, my God, I haven't done one for like half a year, except for the shorts. And I'm excited about finally getting a new episode together. So,
but the shorts were good.
It's a slow process.
The shorts were good. They were fun, holdover to keep everybody interested.
Yeah, little appetizers. Yeah, and they were easier to do. I think, part of the challenge of horror hosting for me is that when I play Igorro, I'm, I've noticed there's a billion horror hosts now, which we all realize. There's just, if you're on the web, I'm like, my God, there's so many of them. There's so many of them. And they have really unique makeups and looks and stuff. And I struggled with my look. I originally was going to make him from Caligari, the Sonobulist and Dr. Caligari. And then I ended up, at one point I thought, he just looks like Dracula. But I really wanted to keep that German expressionism look to him. But then what I find even more challenging is I'm not just, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's a little more, you can mainline the work if you just play the character, you do the show and you're just that character. But I thought Igorro is like Jekyll and Hyde. He changes into a different character in every episode. So I have to do research on playing that character. So it takes me a long time, and it's a long process because I'm doing all the post and I'm doing all the effects and everything. So it's a one-man show. It's like I was talking about Harry Hosden earlier, having the phone ring and he doesn't remember where he reanimated the hydrant. So, but that's the fun of it. And now recently I've been looking and doing research on characters that we relate, that we know, instead of just random characters. They're changed a little bit, but the last episode I did with Rob Boss, based on Bob Ross. When I watch them, I'm not so concerned about getting their voice exactly, like Rich Little, but I am concerned about catching that particular energy and the way that person is as an actor. So if you notice, actors are different than impressionists. I mean, I do impressions of like creatures like King Kong and Godzilla, but as far as here's my, my Jimmy Stewart or whatever, I don't really do that. I try to play the character from a base that's real, right? So it's really challenging, but it's super rewarding. And the one I'm working on for Horror Express right now is super exciting because you'll all know who he is. I don't want to ruin it now, but it's been really fun. And I'm like Red Scout, I laugh at myself because no one's there to laugh with me. Although I saw my cameraman today and he's coming back for the next episode, and it's great because he laughs and I know it's working. But I do it for myself. I really do. And for my love of horror movies. So I'm really excited about this one because this one has Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee in it, which with public domain films, there's hardly anything that's good. And Horror Express is a good film. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's nothing wrong with doing it for yourself. Nothing wrong at all. I mean, you got to make yourself happy. And I know that other people that are watching are going to connect with you along the way. So,
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta make yourself happy in the process.
I think that's the main reason anybody who creates any kind of art, podcast, a YouTube show, anything, the main reason you should do it is for yourself.
Yeah,
because if
absolutely.
You're not gonna love it and enjoy it, it's gonna be hard for anybody else to.
Right.
Yeah. We enjoy connecting every week on here, and love talking with guests like yourself. And so, yeah, I mean, we hope that it shows, that it bleeds through, that we enjoy this.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I think also, when an actor has to work for someone else, I remember I wrote a short film and I thought, God, I hadn't had any time to memorize the lines. But when we started filming, I realized I know everybody's lines because I wrote it. And I was much more relaxed on the set because I wasn't trying to impress anybody else because it was my boat that I was driving. And that's another thing I love about doing horror hosting is that this is your baby. So when someone else hires you, like when I do commercials and stuff, the director, he just kind of wants to get it in there. And they're all concerned about the technical stuff. We got the sound, got the picture. They don't really worry about you. But then you get the writer who comes in and he starts telling you how to act. He starts directing you and gives you line readings. And that is so freaking annoying. It's like, look, pal, you want to do it, you go for it. But when someone gives you too much direction, your creativity just is extinguished. You just close down. Yeah. And then, and you can see other people looking like, well, you got to shut up, buddy.
Yeah. It's almost like, it's like you took all this time in your life to not perfect, but nobody ever feels like their art is perfect, but like you train and you study other people and stuff,
right?
To add your own, if they're over directing you, you can't add your own flair to the art.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And what's so ironic about commercials, I remember I did a great one for a national commercial when I was in LA for Kia, where I played a mime. And it was a 2-day shoot. The second day, the stunt driver had doubled for Sean Connery and stuff. And he was whizzing around in that car and I was in the back. But I've never felt more secure because the guy was such a good driver. But here's the irony. When we shoot it, and with all commercials I've ever shot, and I've shot like at least 70 of them at this point in my life, they always take the first or second take. And you shoot, you got 30 seconds, you shoot for hours. And they do all this other crap, and you do like 40 takes, but it's always the first couple every single time. So the rest of it's just baloney,
Right. So what do you think? Why do you think it always works out like that?
Because everybody's fresh, because your energy drops. If you do a take after take after take, you start to lose your energy and the spontaneity is gone. That's why, like when I do Igorro, I don't write a dialogue. I don't write down a script. I write down ideas and I improvise around them. And I always use the things that are fresh. So the same thing is with a commercial. I mean, you run out of energy. Everybody does. Everybody gets tired. So you're ready to go. And then like after lunch and stuff, you're going back and doing the same thing. You're done. You're basically done. And if you watch good directors and stuff, it's the same way in films. They don't do too many takes because you just get worn out.
Right. So you did mention not writing a script, but kind of improvising a lot for Igorro. Kind of, can you give us like a quick, kind of give us a process of how an episode comes together? Like you write your notes or loose script or something.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Filming to editing.
Yeah. So what I do is I watched a lot of horror hosts before I even started doing this, and I saw what Svengoolie did, and he has writers and they make commentary, a lot of jokes and stuff. And I started doing that. My wife's like, no, that's not really your style. And I said, you know what? You're right. It's not. So what I do is I leave Igorro to he introduces the piece at the top and then he changes back to Igorro at the ending. And I kind of work around pretty much the movie at that point. But when the character comes in, I find that he might occasionally make a comment about something in the film, which I'll just jot down, like something he might say, like some kind of comment about a scene. But what ends up happening, the core of that character is the character. So it's like when I did the director for Plan 9, that one, when he turned into a director, the scenes are not about the movie, but they're about the director dealing with the cast in the movie. So he's dealing with Tor Johnson, saying, Tor, put the turkey leg down. There's a coffee break. Like there's one point, it's like there's a coffee break, and then they have no budget, so he talks to his assistant. He says, "Oh," and he has a big megaphone like Ed Wood did, and he says, "Tor, there's no coffee, but there's water." And then the guy says, "No, there's." And I say, "Oh, I'm sorry, there's no water. Just go to your dressing room." And the guy's like, "He doesn't have a dressing room." And I'm like, "Oh, Tor, just go ahead and just sit it on that box over there in the corner," And it's all improvised, but it's all based on the character reacting to things that aren't actually happening. But I as a improviser, because I improvised a lot, I've been at the Groundlings, USCB. I did Pike Place Market Theater for years. So the character is just reacting to the situation around him. So it doesn't necessarily even have to do with the movie. It's just about this character. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like you're kind of like there is the humor there, but it's not like you're not forcing jokes on it. It's like Svengoolie does, which I love.
Right.
You're finding the humor.
That's his style. Right.
You're finding the humor more like naturally and organically.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some gaggy stuff, but yeah, I'm not doing one-liners. I'm not a stand-up comic going, boy, look at the loaf on that guy's nose or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. But I will.
We're going to turn it into something now.
Yeah.
A thing.
Loaf could be something.
# loaf nose.
Yeah,
loaf on the nose.
Loaf nose. Yeah. So I mean, there are moments when I do that kind of stuff, but yeah. And the fun thing is, like this last character, you just see. I wish I could tell you who he is but I just see it. You'll understand what I'm saying. So
Can you give us a hint? Maybe a little clue? listeners? No.
I just say, just please watch it.
It'd be
Please
too
watch
easy.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, please watch it. Yeah, I don't want to ruin it. But I have other characters. So, Cuthbert P. Peruch Scoot, the critic, he's in there too. So I do create some characters that are just their own characters that aren't Igorro that he turned into. So it's just a great time to really play the palette, just find all different kinds of characters. So
right. It almost makes it like a variety show.
Yeah.
With all these different characters and personalities and stuff. It makes it fun for sure.
And sometimes I put songs in. I write songs and put those in. Because of COVID, I haven't been able to get to the piano I use, but I plan on bringing more music back into, which is something that Svengoolie does. And I like that. So I will write a ballad, play it and sing it. So I just have a lot of fun. I try to utilize everything I can.
Has Igorro ever thought about trying to appeal to the younger generations and come up with like an Igorro rap or something? That would be kind of funny.
Yeah, not yet, but that would be good.
Yeah. Because, the kids these days, some of the music they listen to is
kids and that, that's all they do.
Just like auto-tune Igorro and start rapping.
Yeah, auto-tune. Yeah. Yeah, that would be great, actually. Yeah, that's the nice thing is that, I have this one I want him to turn into a magician, but every trick he does, goes wrong. So like sawing a woman in half. It's like the old Bugs Bunny cartoon when the guy's sawing and Bugs Bunny's underneath going, ooh, the guy's sweating and he's still sawing. I love that kind of stuff. And I actually played a magician in a film that I shot in LA that had that exact thing happen to him.
Oh, nice.
His name was the Great Zadook.
Zadook.
Anyway, like Zadook.
We mentioned that you do not only do you host the movies, the classic horror and sci-fi films, that you do have some episodes where you show off like your collectibles.
Yes.
Or you show your acting chops doing some doing some characters, like you did the King Kong and you've done Godzilla and stuff. What inspired your fascination with monsters and monster movies and all that stuff?
Monster movies.
Yeah. You just watched
monster
them as
movies,
a kid.
man. Yeah, I had Nightmare Theater when I was a kid. I didn't see that until I was a teen, but I was fascinated by monsters. And whenever I could get something, I grabbed it. If I saw a model kit, I'd grab it. I remember one time I was a kid and I was in a pharmacy where they had magazines all over the place. And I remember it was a Monster World, and it was a Monster World edition with a cover of painting from Son of Frankenstein with Karloff on the table. Lugosi was there, and Basil Rathbone as the doctor, and they're looking up at the camera. And I reached for it, and the pharmacist walked by, and he said, "Don't look at that; it'll give you nightmares." And I was like, and I froze, and I was
you had to have it, yeah.
You're like, I really want it.
But he scared me out of it. I felt so like when he told me that, I felt like, I'm going to get in trouble so I didn't get it. And I just want to go back and just pop that guy, let me get it.
See, the love was there. This is a little different, but when I worked at a video store, I remember watching Killer Clowns from Outer Space one night.
Yes.
And this kid comes in, probably like 8 years old, and he comes in before his mom gets inside, and he is literally jumping up and down, like screaming. He was loving the movie. and then his mom walked in.
Was it on? Or? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was watching it. And he was loving it. And then his mom finally walks in and she says, "That's scary, huh?" And he was like, yeah. And like, bullshit, man. I was watching. He
was loving it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just embrace it and let it be.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a crazy film too.
Right. You say you kind of found it yourself though, so there was never like that. You didn't have like that cool uncle that would keep you up late to watch a scary movie or nothing. You just stumbled upon it.
I mean, my dad would take me to the Hammer films because I think, and I watched Hammer. I know my dad was going. He liked monsters.
Right.
And I would say he was inspiring. I remember he had a Don Post rubber green Frankenstein mask, and I remember a couple times when he wore it. And he was into him. So he kind of helped me get through that gateway, you know.
So you mentioned Hammer. I guess they're trying to bring back the production company or something.
They're always trying to bring him back.
Yeah, but I guess they're probably gonna. Hopefully, it makes a lot of the movies that are kind of hard to find available to us, which is what I'm hoping for. Like, I don't want them to try to. Hopefully, they don't try to remake anything.
Right.
Like Universal is doing, but
yes,
I would definitely like to see them make some of the more obscure titles available.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
Yeah.
And maybe this time they'll actually carry through with it, because I know they talked about it before with, Woman in Black and stuff. But it's a tough thing to recreate something that's basically gone, But yeah, Nicolas Cage is going to be Dracula. I don't need that.
No, I'm good.
I'm trying to cut down on that.
Oh man, we've had this conversation on the show. I've never been a Nicolas Cage guy.
Yeah, I mean, he played Superman. Yeah, he played Superman too. But
yeah, they almost did that Superman movie.
I don't think that he's not a good actor. I played a background where I pulled him down on a stretcher in that Tower movie, The Towers, when 9/11 movie.
Right.
But I think Dracula, it's kind of like Superman. I think you need an unknown to play Dracula. You need like Christopher Reeve to play Superman, not Nicolas Cage.
Right.
And I think it's the same way with Dracula. When you have a really famous, iconic, well-known character, sometimes it's better to have a person that we don't know play that character.
Yeah, because if it's not good, it's going to be more disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Ghost Rider character, So when the movie came out, I was happy just to have a Ghost Rider film in general.
Right.
But I didn't exactly see Nicolas Cage playing the character. And now I guess they've been talking about, possibly doing a new film with a different actor. And that's kind of the way I feel, is like, just bring in somebody we don't even know. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us are to the point that, like, when it comes to the big franchises like that, Marvel, Transformers, whatever, we don't really care exactly, when it comes to who's acting in the role, just as long as they play the role well.
Yeah. And for some reason with the Marvel films, I'm a little more understanding. But even Robert Downey as Iron Man, I liked him as Iron Man, and it didn't bother me. But there are certain characters I just think, I hear a name like, no.
Yeah.
And that Dracula, that was one of them.
Yeah.
And I do think also it's like, even the Wolfman, which I thought wasn't a bad remake, but I really was bugged by the CGI in it, even though Rick Baker did the makeup, and I thought that was great. But I think it's really hard to recreate classic characters. I think our audience just, I don't know. I don't think we need to see them anymore. I mean, how many times do we want to see Dracula? I mean, I love Dracula, but he's just been done to death. I don't know. It's hard to, when I look at Iron Man, I think, well, Iron Man is cool because you have the technology now to do comic books, but Dracula and Frankenstein aren't comics. They don't need that kind of effect, And I think it's a lost. I think they are better set in time as they were,
Right. Let them stay as that classic.
Yes.
Let sleeping corpses lie.
Exactly. Yes. Don't be reanimating Dracula yet again. Like even Hammer brought him back, but they brought him back with color, and they brought him back with a little sex and stuff, and that was great. Yeah. That's the way to. But now the only thing you offer is CGI, and Dracula has nothing to do with CGI.
Yeah,
except for maybe the bat transfer, but that's it. Yeah. I mean, like when the Wolfman was running like groovy ghoulies across the roof, I'm like, no, come on, he's not the Hulk. He's the Wolfman. He's part man. He's not going to be able to do that. Anyway,
What We Do in the Shadows is pulling off the CGI transformation pretty well.
Yeah, I haven't watched that since the first episode. I'll have to check that out.
It's good.
I fell in love with that show. I binged it.
Yeah. Actually, I haven't seen the episodes. I just saw the movie. I don't think I saw. all of the movie either.
I love that movie. Yeah.
It's a great idea.
But before we kind of veer too far off, how soon till we see that new episode?
I'm thinking
time frame.
I'm thinking before Christmas. That's what I'm going to say, just to play it safe.
Now, let's say, this is just for fun. Let's say that tomorrow, every movie out there is just free, public domain. So can you give us 3 to 5 titles that you would love to host and make episodes for?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a good question. I have favorite films, but I don't know if I'd necessarily want to host them. But some of the films that I love that I would like to host, because they're just fun movies, are obscure ones like Island of Terror. I love Island of Terror. That'd be a fun one to host. Do you guys know that film? So I would say I would love to host Island of Terror. Island of Terror is with Peter Cushing. It's not a Hammer film, but it came out in the 60s. And it's about these scientists that create this, they try to create a cure for cancer, but they end up creating this creature that looks kind of like a turtle with a octopus tentacle. And the tentacle grabs you and sucks out your bones. So they find all these people that have no bones, and they're very confused. And it's a really fun B movie. I would love to host that one.
I feel like I might have actually seen that one.
Yeah, Island of Terror. It's not public domain, but it should be. But it's really fun. It's very fun. And yeah, it freaks some people out. What else? I don't know. It'd be nice just to direct some of the or to host some of the classics, just like the original Frankenstein, Horror of Dracula, the Christopher Lee Dracula. I love The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Those are a couple that would be fun to host. But again, they're such fun movies.
Yeah, but, like you say, you don't want to interrupt them, but
yeah,
even give it like a good opening monologue to just really show your appreciation for them rather than cutting in.
Yeah. Well, what I also do like about Svengoolie, and I do it myself too, is if I interrupt the film, I make sure that I'll, like the latest thing I do is I interrupt the film, I play it through, and then when I'm out, I back it up again so it starts where I popped in, so you don't miss the film. And Svengoolie does that, and I find that that's the way to go. Most hosts, they just take breaks. They take breaks like every 15 minutes. They just take a break and they talk or whatever. And to me, it's like, that's easy. And part of me is like, I should just do that. I could probably do a lot more content if I did it that way, but that's not how I try to pop in about every 3 minutes. So that's a lot of work. But that's the way I like to do it.
Yeah. If that's your formula, that's what, like we said, it's what you do it for you.
Right.
So it makes you happy how you want to do it. And but it seems to be working. People are starting to enjoy it and picking up on it. And, I do some of your social media for you, Twitter, Instagram. Right. And there, you get a lot of good feedback.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like it. And,
thanks for doing that, by the way. I still don't know how to operate that crap.
Yeah. You'll learn eventually. Just
keep
doing what you're doing. I'm glad to definitely help and appreciate what you're doing. And it's, I'm not an actor or performer really. So like it allows me to kind of be part of the whole thing without.
Yeah. And I think you've done some really, really great marketing with your show as well. I see it all over the place, and I think it's really
definitely trying.
I think you've come a long way. You've done a lot of work on it. So hats off to you.
Got to push where you can, like, without a budget to pay for all the advertising and all that. So it's just like, I'm just gonna shove it down people's throat and see who listens.
Yeah,
much. That's how I'm looking at it. But
it is hard to be a host and know that you don't get a penny out of it. But it is still really fun. And I don't know, maybe someday it'll be a different kind of scenario. But
yeah, it's fun being part of a community. I got to say that.
Yeah.
I really enjoy making podcast friends and whatnot, like we, Steve has known you, but I wouldn't have met you myself if it wasn't for doing this podcast.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I agree completely.
Well, hey, new episodes coming pretty soon. You said within the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
You could find
before Christmas. Before Christmas. Yeah.
Where can people find you besides the stuff that I always plug, the Igorro Show on Twitter, Instagram, but you also have the Igorro Facebook page and group.
There's a Facebook page, there's a Facebook group, and YouTube. Go to YouTube, subscribe to my channel. God, it's hard to get people to subscribe to YouTube.
Yeah,
it is hard such a challenge.
It's hard for people to push that little button that says subscribe.
I know. They just don't do it. They don't do it.
I have a long list of people I've subscribed to on YouTube, and I kind of enjoy it because each morning I get up, make my cup of coffee, and then I kind of scroll through there to see who has new content. So
right.
Yeah.
I enjoy it myself.
I'm assuming I'm on there, Caleb.
You sure are.
All right. God bless you.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Well,
it is hard. It's so hard to get people to subscribe, but that really is really where you're able to post your shows and see them anywhere. So
yeah, right on YouTube. Then of
I look
course,
forward to seeing
and
that
the
blue dot next to your name.
the Monster
yeah,
Channel.
there you go.
Yeah.
And the Monster Channel.
That's another good platform.
And the Vortex, although the Vortex lately, I don't know, they haven't. I got to talk to the Vortex. They haven't been posting my stuff much.
Right. Probably, maybe it's because there hasn't been a new full episode or something in a while.
Right. I think that's exactly.
That could be part of it, but they'll get you back on there.
Yeah.
They're busy. There's, like you said, there's like 1 billion people putting out shows now, so they're kind of.
There are, and I it's too overwhelming to watch everybody, but
like I'd love to, but yeah,
it's just, but like I said, they all have the same movies. They're all showing the same crap over and over.
Yeah,
so that's why I do like doing models and other elements. So
yeah, get something. Different.
You got to put your own flair on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, hey, we're gonna wrap up here. Thanks, Mark, for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks, you guys. I appreciate it.
Make sure
great to chat with you.
Make sure listeners find the Igorro Show on YouTube. We'll post a link, of course. Watch the Monster Channel. Catch Igorro on there. There's a Igorro and a ton of other great horror hosts to watch. You could stream it. I think you got the app on your Roku. If you have a Roku device, you could get the Monster Channel on there, and you can watch Igorro. You can watch Igorro right on your TV.
Right, there you go.
So yeah, check out Igorro. Check out the Igorro Show. Follow his Facebook page. Reach out to him. Maybe he'll point you towards some of his other movies and stuff that he's done. So you can check him out and see there's more depth to his acting abilities than this character that he developed, which is cool.
There's not.
No, he's like, I'm just Igorro. He's just Igorro in every movie.
Yeah.
Just see like the
same thing every time.
Deep dramatic film in Igorro.
Yeah.
See like Igorro in like a cell in like Shawshank or something.
Well, I just did a film last summer called Home Sweet Home, and it's playing on blah blah blah. And I just got a check for royalties for $2.98. So
nice. I'm
in the big time.
All in.
It's time to start thinking about retirement, huh?
Yeah, get that new car. Yeah, buy a second home. Yep.
Well, hey, thank you for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks again, you guys.
We'll definitely we'll talk again soon. We'll have you back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, you too. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Hi, I'm Doug Jones, the tall, skinny, goofy actor who plays lots of monsters and creatures on film and in TV. But today, I want you to know that you are listening to the best podcast on the air, and that would be the Steve and Crypto Show.
Thanks again to Mark Pinkney, a.k.a. Igorro, for hanging out with us. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Be sure to visit our Buy Me a Coffee page, buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto, and show us some love over there. Don't forget, Fright Rags has all the cool holiday stuff going on. So start some gift shopping over there, fright-rags.com. And if you know any guests you think we should try to get on here, or if you're working on a cool project that you think is Steve and Crypto Show worthy, let us know. You know how to find us on social media. track us down, say hello, keep on listening and reviewing the show. It really helps. And as always, thank you guys. We've been the Steve and Crypto Show.